YouTube? This your boy KamenRider Zero Spike back again once again in today, people. Today, this is my review of the first episode. Technically, I know this is a full feature length like movie, but Shin KamenRider, and it's so freaking cool. But I know this is a feature length like full on movie, and I know this stuff kind of like takes place in like manga, and I know this is also directed by the same guy who did Shin Godzilla. He did Shin Godzilla, does Evangelion also, and also did like Shin Ultraman. And I'm loving this. I know this is technically like the first episode, but as it goes along, I think I'll just go ahead and do like that, this entire series, air quotes. But I freaking love this. I love basically a retelling of like the classic like KamenRider Ichigo, KamenRider Nigo story, and also giving it that 1970s 1980s type of feel to it, with a lot of comedy, with some things that were I'm judging by like just this first like episode, air quotes. There's a lot of it's very much taking this up seriously. We get thrown into this. We get thrown into our main writer, who technically I think he's supposed to be Nigo. Well, yeah, he's basically supposed to be Nigo because his helmet is a different color from Ichigo's. But yeah, he's thrown into this saying that he was experimented on by the organization known as Shocker. Well, if you're a KamenRider fan, you know who Shocker is. You know who Shocker is. But basically experimented on by Shocker, created to be this weapon, basically to essentially take over the world. They are basically like and I see that they, from the stuff that they say about Shocker in this, that they are more like a business kind of oriented kind of thing. So they got lawyers and all this other stuff to protect them from any legalities or anything like that happen throughout the city and stuff. And we see that even the creatures that some of the monsters, like one of the monsters, and how people die in this series is that they just turn into like this bubbly kind of foam stuff, and then they just like completely like dissipate, like fade away. And kind of it takes away that whole like classic trope of KamenRider where like your opponent like blows up after the rider kick. Like, no, like this guy is going to turn into bubbles. But I did really like that aspect of how Shocker is like trying to protect themselves from certain things. But I did like how our main, like, we're completely just given the whole spiel of who the character is, what he that he was experimenting on, and how his like suit and stuff like that works, and like his whole suit and his get up basically works. And it's very, very technology based. It's very, very technology based. And I do like that in KamenRider sometimes, where like the writer itself, our main writer or writers in that series aren't, their power doesn't come from like some mystical type of thing. Their power is like man-made and sometimes alien-made, and they have to do like over their technological things to get their suit on, get their suit off, like summon their suit, henshin sounds, henshin poses and things like that. And I did really like that aspect of it. Kind of it's still that same old, still that the classic Showa era writer, but still still gives it a modern day type of feel to it, which I really did like. I like how the belt would, the steam and all this other stuff would like it shows like a real power down type of thing when it came down to him like him powering down his suit. We see all the steam and the exhaust and all this other stuff like come off the suit, and it basically stops him from feeling those primal like instincts where like he would kill people, he would like destroy people, or destroy the Shocker grunts and stuff, and they would just explode in blood and all this kind of stuff. And it's very, very fast paced. Like the fight scenes are very, very fast paced and bombastic, and the camera work is like everywhere. The cinematography is everywhere, and I really did like it. And I'm like, when I saw it, it gives it that old style of like that old style KamenRider feel. We even got the KamenRider original song, the KamenRider anthem in this and I really did like that. I always find myself singing along to the classic KamenRider anthem, and it's one of what like one of the things that define you as a writer. Like you're gonna feel, you're gonna hear that sound sometimes when it comes down to it. You're gonna get that classic cheesy 1970s 1980s type of feel, even when it comes down to common writers like now, like even current writers who still have that writer essence in them, even though we're getting to the point where now not a lot of writers are doing writer kicks. Still, we're getting that feel with this. And I did like how I love the Kamen Rider Amazons, and this gave me like some of a Kamen Rider Amazons feel when it came down to the fighting, and it came down to like the seriousness, but also also Amazons didn't have a lot of funny moments. I mean, you could like it's more like adult humor or more dark humor, but in this, like, I mean, some of this stuff was just not intentionally funny, but some of this stuff, that how the camera work was going, I had to do my own little commentary on it, because it was actually pretty freaking cool, and actually kind of funny how fast paced everything was moving, and it was really really cool. Like I loved every like second of this. But our main character, we do get like a death in this, like the professor that essentially like created him and chose him to be the hero that has the power, like basically to protect people. He's saying that he went through like a big tragedy in college, and he always wished for like power, and he was like, actually this is too much power. Like I didn't want this kind of power. And we see that he essentially like he's a kind person, which is why the professor like chose him. And our villain in this episode, we get they're well, I'm calling him Nego because he essentially is Nego, but they're called augments in this, where there are people who've been experimented on and have been augmented and given superhuman like type of abilities. And the main guy we're fighting in this episode is a spider based dude. And yeah, he gets a kick off of killing people and doing his job. And he basically says that, hey, fuel my happiness by dying in my hands. And he actually did a thing that was pretty creepy, where he had his zipper would come down by itself automatically, and he had like other arms would come out of his body, which I did like that kind of thing, because he's a spider, so it kind of added on to the big spider motif that he was going for. And essentially he was sent there to kidnap the professor's daughter, and also kill the professor, but also kill Nego. But that didn't go how it's planned. We find out in the end of the episode that she didn't care that he died, but Neo's basically telling her that, yeah, man, like, I think he chose me as a representation of his love for you. And he knew that he didn't have the power to essentially do the stuff himself, so he basically chose me. And I'm really excited to see like what is really happening next in this. I haven't really spoiled myself on anything else that happens in this movie, but I really like it. I'm really digging it. I can't wait to see more of it. I love the cinematography, the fight scenes, the amount of flips that these guys were doing, the amount of backflips and cartwheels and air flips and jumps, and everything was just, they were so unnecessary, but they felt right. They were really really cool how these flips and kicks and all this other stuff was. And I loved it. I don't care how many times they were flipping, I can watch these guys flip all freaking day. But with that being said, guys, also we got to see like this other guy who was in the background, who was he at the end of the episode, where he was riding his bike with the girl, was like standing there in the background and like on the street, and it was actually pretty freaking creepy. Like it felt like some Slender Man type ish, but yeah, can't wait to see who that is, because I'm really looking forward to actually seeing the rest of this, and it was actually dope. So please, no spoilers in the comments, but yeah, man, you guys let me know down in the comment section about what you guys think of Shin Kamen Rider, whether you are watching it episodically, or did you watch the entire movie? How did you feel about it? Let me know all the comments down there. Let me know everything down there in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys next time. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And remember, as I always say, stay henshined.